1, 2, 3, Mark.
Don't you normally, do you go 3, 2, 1 normally?
I don't know.
Oh, I think I was like slightly delayed because it threw me off that you were going 1, 2, 3 instead of 3, 2, 1. But
I should do, what did Freddie do in iCarly? Do you remember?
And 5, 4, 3, 2.
That was very important. He doesn't say 1, he goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they even made like a little meme about it in the show. They were like, you don't say the 1, because they were like, someone else was saying the 1 and he was like losing his mind or something. I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the episode. Wait, how do I start
Sorry,
this?
Imagine being like, hey, we're going to put you on a TV show. And do you know who you're going to be on the TV show? The fucking cameraman.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he was more than a cameraman, but.
He was much more than a cameraman. I think it's actually pretty offensive that you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Freddie. I'm sorry. Anyway, shall we?
Yeah, get into this. Let's. We don't got time to talk about iCarly. We got to talk about Naruto.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Analog Schtick, a PlayStation 2 podcast, the podcast where every month we do a deep dive on one PS2 title. We cover the game's development history, discuss its legacy, as well as share our thoughts and opinions on the game through a modern lens. We release a new episode on the 2nd of every month, so subscribe or follow if you'd like to stay up to date with the show. Please support the podcast by leaving a review or rating on whatever platform you like to listen on. You can find us on podcast platforms as Analog Schtick and YouTube as Analog Schtick. I got messed up because the old intro was different because we had a different name, but now it's the same name. I'm your host, Clayton, joined as always by my glitch-riddled co-host, Morgan. Morgan, how are you?
My body is being ripped apart at the seams. My flesh and there are guts and viscera being smeared all over the screen because my skin texture is being ripped off of my body in a seizure-inducing flash.
Yeah, and the listeners can't see this, but I noticed that the world behind you has disappeared now.
There is a gem floating in the distance behind me. You will not believe this.
Always out of reach, though.
And the skybox, the skybox could use some more details as well, I think. It's a little bit lackluster.
Yes. I feel like we are now perfectly equipped to talk about this game with you experiencing the game in real life now.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. I don't know why I'm trying to blaze through this. I drank most of my coffee drink.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it, I bet.
I am caffeinated.
Okay. Well, I ate 2 bowlfuls of spaghetti, so I'm a little bit sluggish, if I'm being honest. Got them carbs weighing me down.
I didn't eat dinner, so I'm...
Your empty stomach plus caffeine, you are probably a little bit of a mess right now. Then.
I'm like a bomb.
All right.
So, housekeeping. Same as last few months. Continue to write in with feedback. analogschtickmail@gmail.com. Compiling all those. Nice to hear from all you lovely people. Yeah, I want some hate. I want people to start flaming us. Well, Morgan doesn't want that, though, so don't do that.
I want your lore. I said that last episode.
Oh, yeah, give us good stuff.
I want your discussions and just pour your heart out about these games, please.
Mm-hmm. And much like how we conduct the show, feel free to get off topic. You don't got to be about the PlayStation 2.
Talk about Naruto.
Can we talk about Naruto? You can. We might have to start advertising that we talk about Naruto with how much Naruto talk happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Naruto.
Right. It's the Naruto segment now, okay?
Let's get into the Naruto segment, which I have deemed random bullshit in the Google Doc.
I see that.
Naruto time. I am deep into the Naruto filler at the moment. I know last episode I claimed I was going to skip the filler, and I almost did this. I skipped to like the last set of episodes that you're supposed to watch in the original art or in the original show, and I made it like 5 seconds in. I saw Kakashi and his little dog, and I love that little dog.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just felt so dirty. I had to go back and rewatch it. I'm like, I can't skip 500 episodes. That's wrong. So I went back, and I'm now most of the way through it. I think I have 2 seasons left.
Okay, you're catching up.
I've been through many arcs, some good, some bad, a lot of in between, and it's interesting because, so just to, we got to catch everyone up who doesn't know about this, and you can say this, you probably know more exact, but what's the deal with this filler? It's filler because the manga wasn't like up to date. Like the show like caught up with the manga faster than the manga was keeping up with itself, basically, right?
I actually don't know about that. part. I mean, I know that the filler is content that's not in the manga. And so for that reason, a lot of people consider it like stuff that happens within the filler is not considered canon. I feel like it was. I feel like the filler is maybe to buy time for like Shippuden to come out, or maybe like Shippuden was in like pre-production and they were trying to like buy time for that. I don't actually know.
Maybe. I take issue with the whole non-canonical thing because like this isn't a multimedia storyline. This is the TV show and this is the manga. It's based off the manga, but it's anything that the TV show could change whatever it wanted, and it would be in that canon for the TV show.
So you're suggesting that the manga is its own canon and the TV show is its own canon. So I
feel like that's how it should be.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay. I don't really have a strong opinion on this either way, but
I mean, unless they wanted to do something where it was like, but it's the same like I don't know, like The Walking Dead, for example. Very famously, I don't know, famously, but just completely different canons. Like the premise is the same, it follows the same characters. They do wildly different things. They go to the same places, same beats.
Okay.
Sometimes shot for shot, same stuff happens. But it's wildly different as far as who the characters are and what they do and how they interact with each other. Sometimes there's new characters in the show versus the like comics and stuff, but maybe that's like tainted how I come into this. But even though it's like very heavily based off the manga, I'm like, it doesn't need to be the same in any regard. Like they could handle a character completely differently, and they could, exclude a character, make a new character, and I'd be like, it's not like that character's not canon. I mean, it exists.
Right.
I see it with my eyeballs right now.
I also think I could be wrong about this. I feel like I was like reading through. I have a Naruto board on Pinterest because of course I do. And I feel like I saw something that was like Kishimoto, the author of the manga, actually did write some of the filler episodes as well. I think maybe I could be wrong, but so that's maybe also worth considering. I don't know.
Oh, okay. And you are jumping back and forth right now between Shippuden and the Naruto filler.
Yeah. I wanted to go back and see some of that because it seemed like you were really enjoying the filler. So I was like, well, I'll go back so that we can, kind of be on the same page. I think I definitely got past the finding the bug arc,
which is I think it's my favorite arc so far.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
And then
not my favorite arc, my favorite filler arc.
Okay. Like that's fair. What's your favorite like arc that you've seen so far?
I mean, it's definitely the I mean, it's the tuning exam.
It's like the tuning exam. Okay.
Like I know it's the boring answer, but it's the true answer. Like
yeah.
I mean,
I think that's fair. That's a lot of people's favorite.
I do really like Shikamaru leading that squad of boys out after Sasuke. That's good. I really like it. But it doesn't have Rock Lee fighting Gaara. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does have Drunken Fist Rock Lee. But it doesn't have Rock Lee fighting Gaara. It doesn't have Rock Lee taking off the training weights. Actually, it does, but
not with that like reveal where you're like,
not with the same
my God.
reveal.
Yeah.
I think that's tainting my thing. It's because like tuning exams is when I started to come around on everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when I started to really like everybody.
Okay.
And it's also like such a long and like varied arc. Like takes you so far, covers so much.
Right. Like you have like life or death fights. You have like maybe like these kids being stupid kids. You probably have a little bit of like slice of life feelings thrown in. Yeah. It's just, I get that. So after the bug arc of the original Naruto filler, I pivoted back to Shippuden.
Yeah.
Because I was on a filler arc, an arc of filler. There's some, this is going to be confusing, but for those who don't know, there's some filler episodes that follow like a continuous arc. And then there's some where it's like, okay, this 20 episodes, it's all going to be like filler that's just like their own little contained stories within their episodes. And that's the type, that second type is the type of filler arc that I was on. And it had my new favorite Naruto episode has been usurped. I have a new favorite. It's no longer the Kakashi trying to take his mask off. Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's been replaced, and it was so fucking funny. It was so funny. I was laughing out loud multiple times. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what happens because that'll spoil it, but it was hilarious.
Well, I will give you the premise of what I'm about to cover, and that is a single self-contained 1-episode filler.
Okay.
Actually, there's been a few of those recently, and they've been good. Like, it's mostly been arcs up until this point, but there's been a lot of like good single filler episodes that I've been enjoying. This one that I watched recently is called, I think it's just called like Laughing Shino or something like that. Shino, for those of you at home, very serious character. He's a bug man, shoots bugs out of his body and stuff like that. Bug jitsu or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Insect jitsu, I think is.
Host jutsu, I don't know.
Something like that. Anyway, very serious man. I've also noticed that every squad of 3 has like the literal same archetype of a Naruto character, a Sasuke character, and a girl.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Speaking of girl, I feel like Sakurai, I say her name wrong every time.
It's Sakura, not
Sakura. I said Sakura a few times in like the Ratchet and Clank episode. I said Sakurai a couple times.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever her pink-haired girl, isn't that so disrespectful? She's like one of the most main
She's the
characters.
main character.
Anyway, yeah, pink-haired girl is like now training as like Tsunade's
yes,
apprentice,
yes,
or whatever, which is cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of neat that spoilers that Sasuke is doing his thing with his person,
right,
and then you have Naruto doing his thing with Jiraiya, and Sakurito, yeah, doing her thing with Tsunade. It's like a nice little, cool little parallel. That's something that I think this is maybe a trope of anime or something. It's definitely a thing in this show where you have adults that kind of mirror the younger generation, and it's like there's always like an analog to this person is very much like their father. And like it's like this sort of like everyone's kind of been doing the same thing throughout all of time or something.
Well, in the team Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji, I think their parents have been on the same team, or like their families have been on the same like team for like several generations now.
It's neat. It's like everyone's got a like role model who relates to them.
Yeah, and definitely like within Naruto, I'm trying to think of like other anime I've watched that have a similar thing, but within Naruto it's definitely a strong theme of like the generational cycles and that sort of thing, and sometimes the trauma that comes with that, but that's yes. Anyway, I brought up the Shino thing and I got to get back to it. So this episode revolves around a mission for Naruto and Shino where there is this dude who is giving like the funeral. He's like leading the funeral. He's like talking throughout the funeral and stuff like that. Okay.
It's for this like very dysfunctional family. The father has died and he's leaving everything or leaving a bunch of stuff to this person that hired them, under the condition that they don't laugh at his funeral. And so basically his entire family is trying to get him to laugh the whole time. And there's like this loophole that allows someone to stand in for him at the funeral. Like, so it's going to be Shino is the idea. Okay. And before, like the night before the funeral, this is all like the setup still. We're not like getting that much deep into it. Shino gets poisoned with like some sort of laughing drug or something.
God.
So he's like laughing up a storm the entire time, which is really funny.
That's so weird.
He's like laughing on a molecular level because you like zoom in on his like little insects running throughout his body and they're all cackling too.
Oh my god.
And he's just like constantly laughing and stuff. And it's fantastic. So Naruto has to like sit through this funeral of all of these goobers doing a bunch of wild stuff trying to make him laugh. And I found it really good. That was a good one.
That sounds really good. I love that premise.
Mm-hmm. The show becomes a lot more like a cartoon in the filler. It's very formulaic.
Yeah.
Like it's always like Grandma Tsunade sending them out on a mission, Naruto being a little asshole, and we just get to hang out with like a rotating cast of ninja kids. And it's good. It's good. I also feel like they've done a good job of, and we'll see how in line it is with what happens to them in Shippuden, but it feels like they're doing a good job of developing the characters, like setting them, like, you know, progressing them and slowly and stuff, especially like Hinata and stuff, like people like that who like have had moments to shine in like the main arcs, getting more and more recognition, which is great. Love it. There's another one-off with Kiba and Akamaru, where Akamaru is like contracted this virus and like may have to be put down, and it's like how Kiba deals with it.
Oh my gosh.
It's touching. It's nice. It had like an Order 66 Clone Wars type moment where like Akamaru's like gone rabid, but he like still can't attack Kiba. It's very sweet.
Poor guy.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure you'll enjoy that. Anyway, don't want to probably said too much, but anyway. So I wanted to ask you this. So in my head, I'm not in the anime scene. This is the first real anime that I've like engaged with in any meaningful way. Is Naruto like well respected as an anime amongst anime enthusiasts?
Okay. Sorry, just to like give everybody like context of like where I'm at in the show. So Clayton is still going through the OG Naruto filler. We just like today, as of today, just crossed episode like 250 of Shippuden. Cried like a baby, for those of you who know what's going on. I'm not gonna like say anything to Clayton about it because I don't want to spoil that goodness. But I think I don't know. I think it might sort of have a reputation as like a normie anime because it was on Toonami back in the day, which was like the easiest way for like kids in the US to like see anime. But then I don't know. I mean, and I know a lot of people make fun of it because, you know, like when Vine was a thing, like not making fun of Naruto and like Naruto running was like a big thing. And, you know, people make fun of Sasuke because like he's the edgy kid and, you know, you have like weebs running around wearing Akatsuki cloaks and like they get made fun of for that and that sort of a thing. I don't know. I think
I gotta interject real quick. I would totally rep like that Leaf Village like iconography if
it's cool,
if it wasn't so recognizable. If it was like a little bit less associated with the show, I'd be down for it. But,
that's why you gotta pick something out like the Nara crest or like Shikamaru's like family crest, or like, which I think that just looks like the red no sign. But I could get
the bowl cut like Rock Lee.
No, or the green jumpsuit.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah.
I think maybe it's not that Naruto isn't as well respected. Maybe it's that the fan base is like so big and like the general public is like part of the fan base that there's like more cringe to be exposed. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the
big things become
the
less
bigger
cool.
the fan base. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example of like something that has like a quote unquote cringe. This is not my personal opinion, but like,
is One Piece on that level? Because I know One Piece is also very big, but I feel like that's more well respected.
Yeah, I don't know. Which I haven't seen any One Piece, so I can't. I mean, like, there's Full Metal Alchemist, which I personally don't like Full Metal Alchemist as much as I like Naruto, and I watched Full Metal Alchemist first. I don't know. There's like some anime out there that have like big fan bases.
I had a hypothesis that the filler could have something to do with the maybe lack of respect.
Okay.
Because it is kind of insane that this show had such a long running stretch of like very formulaic cartoonish episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it is very much geared towards like a younger audience, I think, because of the age of the characters. Like, I think One Piece, he's probably a teenager, but probably not as young as Naruto starts off. And like Full Metal Alchemist is like, I think Ed and Al are like 14. But like the themes in that, like the tone is like a little bit more serious usually, I think. There's also a lot of like toxicity. Well, because Naruto's also been around for a long time. So you want to go look at like Naruto like fandom content, right? You're going to get like more like modern day stuff, but you're also going to get stuff from like 10, 15 years ago where people are being so toxic about like certain characters and certain like aspects of the show, and just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to think a lot of those people have like mellowed out over time, or maybe dropped it and moved on to other things. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess when like something gets this big, you're gonna inevitably attract some unsavory people, like as members of the. It's like, I don't know, like the biggest thing is gonna attract the children, is
right? Yeah,
and the children are cringy, and
that's just part of being a kid. Is
dumb thing.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Speaking of, I've like kind of mellowed out on Fortnite as like a thing that a bunch of kids enjoyed as part of like growing up. You know? I'm you know what? I'm glad they had their thing, as opposed to being a grouchy old grandpa who hates it.
Like Minecraft went through its phase where that was like, ooh, cringe, like that's for like little kids. But now we're all like, we love Minecraft.
I think Minecraft is genuinely, not to get the critic out in me, I think Minecraft is, there's nothing like Minecraft really.
Yeah.
Like, is there any game that is, I mean, there are other games, but any I don't know. I don't need to, I don't want to anger anyone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like other games did Fortnite better. Fortnite was just bigger. And
what,
I think
in terms of like the battle royale?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of the things I don't like about Fortnite come down to its incessant monetization.
Yeah.
And like the crossover. It feels like a walking billboard. Like everything in the game is advertising something. And I don't really like that.
But you can get a Sasuke skin.
Oh, you can? Yes, that's right. You probably... There's definitely Naruto stuff in there.
Yeah.
Can you be Kakashi?
Yeah, you can, actually.
Well, you can be Kakashi in Minecraft, too.
You can, because I am
yeah,
right
you
now.
currently are.
I paid $3 for that shirt.
Yep. Honestly, the Bedrock version of Minecraft, also a little stupid when it comes to monetization, so
yeah,
I'm speaking from a glass house here.
Yeah,
I guess.
That's true.
The Java version of Minecraft is like remained an extremely pure experience. It feels like
good for them.
Like there's no like, which is I won't give them too much credit because there's two versions of the game for some reason, and I hate that.
Right.
It makes trying to learn about like the deeper mechanics so frustrating, because it's like you have to specify which game, and it's like why are there two versions of?
And it also makes me mad that like for a lot of things, Java has more like lenient block placement for certain items. So it's like if you want to build something decorative, it's like, oh, you can only do that technique or whatever in Java edition. Like, great, I guess I have to stick with this ugly old technique instead. It's annoying. And
it is definitely, it's probably a grass is greener thing.
Yeah, maybe.
We have some advantages to Java on Bedrock, but every time I see like the way Java operates, I'm like, man, it'd be cool to build like an entity crusher. Can't do that.
Yeah.
And like, man, it'd be cool to like be able to do this redstone contraption, but it's like, that's not how redstone works in Bedrock for some reason. And we're like, man, it'd be cool to have more than like 4 feet of simulation distance.
Yeah, I was going to say a higher and render distance or whatever.
Oh my God, yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Let's get into our opening topic. It's weird that we have an opening topic despite having an opening topic in Naruto. Anyway, let's get into our official opening topic. That was random bullshit. Yeah. That was the random bullshit section. This is the opening topic section. For anyone that has some sort of grievances for how I structure the show, please email us at analogschtickmail@gmail.com.
Right.
Someone's just like pulling their hair out. It's like, it's been an hour and they haven't talked about the game. Sorry, this is how it's got to be. I'm sorry. I'm structuring the show like the podcasts I like. And all the podcasts I like.
They have a bullshit section. Or 2
or
they 3.
Just completely disrespect your time. And that's what I want.
Okay.
And that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk to you about vacations to coincide with the end of summer. This is our September episode, in case you weren't aware. And also, I am in the throes of planning my first vacation as an adult, and it is consuming a lot of my life right now. So I wanted to talk to you about vacations.
Okay.
take this in whatever direction you want, but I had a couple of questions laid out. What were vacations like for you as a kid? I'll start with that.
Well, not to get deeply personal on this
Yeah,
podcast.
you don't have to be like
on our
insane.
gamer
Like
podcast.
I went
No.
here and I don't know, but
Well, so just I guess for whatever, my parents are divorced and I'm an only child. I have no siblings. So it's like, and neither of my parents got remarried. So it's like, oh, you go, I'm at my mom's house. It's just me and my mom. There's two of us. Go to my dad's. There's two of us, sort of a thing. Usually I would go on like vacations, I guess, with my dad. And that was like mostly camping trips.
okay.
Like not too far
Gotcha.
from home. To like state parks and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Did you like do you did like trailer camping, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we stayed in a tent a few times, but like alongside a camper. Like there was like, well, when we first started, we didn't have a camper with like a toilet. So you had to go to like the public bathhouse or whatever.
Yeah, but just to like put it in perspective, not like backpacking. You're not
No.
trekking
Not
out into the wilderness.
Roughing it. Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
were just in like a gravel parking space with like hot dogs and like air conditioning.
Did you happen to have your PS2 at the time?
Oh yeah, I hauled that sucker everywhere I went with my father.
Mhm.
I would take it to my grandma's house when we would go over there on the holidays. It's on my bookshelf right now, but that PS2 has been all over the place with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
See?
it's like my teddy bear.
Take that, you sons of bitches who are writing in currently to the analogschtickmail@gmail.com fan mail account, telling us about how we don't talk about the PS2 until an hour in. It's only been 30 minutes, and we're talking about the PS2 right now.
The PS2 was the sibling I never had. Okay.
Oh. So, do you think that shaped what you like in a vacation? Do you kind of resent the idea of going to a more populated
Yes.
destination?
Oh yeah. I love nature. I love being in nature. My husband and I went to Seattle for our honeymoon, and it was incredibly cramped, and the streets were sort of like someone took spaghetti and threw it out and was like, here, let's model the pavement after this. And like, parking was a nightmare. Getting anywhere was a nightmare. And I was like, I just like nature. I like trees and open space and that sort of a thing. Yeah.
I think I'm definitely with you on that. Most of my vacations as a kid were definitely like going to more populated areas. I don't know, like the Wisconsin Dells was a place that we went to a couple times, and like Myrtle Beach and like these more like populated locations, Disney World and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not to sound like this does make me sound kind of like a little bitch.
What?
I didn't like going to Disney World.
Oh,
I'm so ungrateful. That's not necessarily what I mean. It's just that I feel like if I really think about it, I am a very anxious person. And part of that anxiety comes from just like a lot of stimulus.
Yeah.
Like, and being in places like that, I find
it's draining.
I don't like it. And I feel like, so for me, like planning a vacation, it's like, I would like to go somewhere that is slower paced and relaxing. And I totally understand people who want to go someplace more exciting, I guess. Like they find day-to-day life boring, want to go somewhere exciting. I find day-to-day life mostly stressful and want to go somewhere relaxing.
Yeah.
I say that I have crafted a very relaxing life. So I'm not like a very like, I'm a very anxious person, and I intentionally crafted a very not anxious existence.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like following a strict like itinerary? Was your family an itinerary maker?
Okay, let's get into this.
Okay.
My family. So my family owns like their own small business, and that has been like my parents would kind of explain that as the reason why they did not plan extremely far in advance for their vacations.
Interesting.
We had a lot of spur of the moment vacations. The most spur of the moment vacation was we went to Colorado one year, and I don't think we knew that we were going to go to Colorado until like, I think less than a week before, maybe a few days before. It was just a spur of the moment, like, this is vacation time. Where should we go? Colorado.
I'm a giraffe. Sorry.
Yep. And like it was so spur of the moment that like we didn't have a hotel the first night and we like slept in our car.
That's terrible. No,
That would
I
stress
didn't
me
mind
out.
it
As a kid, I guess it did stress me out. I
Yeah.
guess, and then flying with my family. My family, I think my parents. I would describe them like obviously they're very functioning adults who handle, they run a business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They plan, but for like vacations, I like as a kid, I felt like there wasn't always like a clear plan, despite them being very decisive people. So it would be like, we don't have a plan, but they're just like, we're going here, we're doing this, we're doing that, blah, blah, blah. But it like felt like that wasn't thought ahead. It was more just like decided in the moment. They're also like, I would describe them as very on time people, not like ahead of time, not late, just very on time. And the one time that we flew somewhere, that was very stressful. It felt like we got there with 0 extra time. I hate flying. And it's probably partially because of that experience flying with my family.
Oh, geez.
It's just, oh man, I would avoid flying. Okay, I'll just segue this to the next thing. Would you ever like want to travel outside of the US? We're both in the US, in case that wasn't clear by the entire podcast. Would you ever like want to travel outside the US? There's a lot of stuff to see in the US.
I know, yeah. So here's the thing. You were just talking about how you're an anxious person. I am also an anxious person. Planes. I've been on an airplane, well, I guess twice in my life. For the honeymoon, we flew out there and then flew back. And I hated it. I hated the airport. I hated the flying. I hate heights. So that sort of makes that a little bit difficult, So like Canada would be okay. Probably not Mexico, because I feel like most like touristy destinations in Mexico you fly to probably is probably the best way to do that.
Maybe. I'm not going to Mexico, period.
No, I don't think so.
Be real.
Nothing against people from Mexico. I have no problem with, anyway.
I don't, but there's been like enough worrisome things to happen in Mexico that it's not something. I also like feel weird about the whole like, I don't know. I don't know exactly like what vacationing in Mexico even entails, but like I've heard, about like situations where like at a hotel and the wealth disparity between you traveling there versus like
and
the people working
there. I know that sort of like rubs me the wrong way. Like it feels it's like, oh, like this community is here and is hosting this thing for these wealthy people from another country to come and enjoy like their landscape. I don't know if that
I don't even know.
Sense,
I can't. I'm not even sure.
It's hard to articulate.
I would have to think about it for a while to figure out exactly what I feel, but like that's something that
it's not great.
Strikes me as wrong or something.
Yeah.
Because it's like, am I like taking? I don't know.
Are you taking advantage? It's hard to. It's like, oh, it's like a dirt cheap vacation. It's like, well, why aren't they paid better? Or like, I don't know.
And I know that it's like, I don't even know if like it is that simple or if it just is that simple.
You care about the people that are maybe being taken advantage of by the system, right? Mm-hmm. Is that probably the best way to put it? Like if that system is like hurting people, like local people.
It sort of feels like me going there, I am like, so I would be much more like wealthy than the people there. It kind of makes me feel like I'm just some sort of like, I don't know, like
parasite,
king or queen, just like traveling and seeing the common folk or something like that. I don't even know. Like, it's just like I'm traveling somewhere where I become much higher class by proximity. I don't even know. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. But so if I did not have my fear of flying and everything about that, I am all about like food.
Yeah, I know you're all about food. I've seen some of the Snapchats you sent me of like hot dogs on like a piece of white bread.
I haven't ate anything like that. I made kimchi stew the other night. Like that's better than 2 chili dogs on a slice of white bread.
I know. But for those of you who don't know, Morgan has this thing where she will just send me the most horrific images of the food she has concocted.
I do send Claire and Cora like pretty pictures of food. Well, not pretty pictures, but like pictures of good food that I've made.
Okay, you send the boys a bunch of
horrible stuff. But anyway, so if I were to like travel, I think not to sound like a weeb, since we just talked about Naruto, but I would like to go to Japan or maybe like South Korea.
Japan?
No, not like that. No. But somewhere where I would be like, oh, I need to like try everything with like the cuisine or whatever.
Oh yeah. It would be cool to try like sushi or seafood in a place where it doesn't have to be frozen and shipped to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get that.
That'd be cool.
Or like authentic ramen broth that's not a packet mixed in with boiling water, like a salt packet. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I also wouldn't travel. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'm interested, but like the risks freak me out just a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's not that... Okay, I think when it comes to flying, I am not very scared of an airplane, but being in an airport makes me very anxious.
Yes.
And navigating the airport makes me very anxious.
Yeah.
The concern of like losing luggage makes me pretty anxious, even though it's like, if I lost my clothes, it'd be like, I can just like buy a couple shirts at like a Target or something and be fine. And just run around in plain shirts like Winnie the Pooh. I'd buy other clothes. There's just so many places to visit in America when it comes to like national parks and stuff, which is really all that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in just going to like New York for the sake of going to New York.
No.
That would probably give me a heart attack.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
The tall buildings. My gosh. Downtown in like some of the bigger cities that I've been in, downtown freaks me the hell out. Like
I hate it.
Oh.
I mean, like downtown and like Midwestern big cities is still like, I can't do it. And I like avoid driving in like big congested areas.
Yeah, it's stressful. I get it.
Very stressful.
We're just simple small town folk.
Mm-hmm. We don't do well when the roads get too wide.
No.
Too many signs. I still like...
I need to be within line of sight of a cornfield at all times, or else I will start to freak out. Be like, where's my corn?
That's where we draw all of our energy from.
Right. Yeah.
And if we're too far away from it, we won't be lasting very long.
Yeah.
There's plenty of parks that I would like to visit. Yosemite and Glacier, definitely on the list. I may have to fly there though. I wouldn't have to. There's roads, but it would probably make more sense to fly. Unless I did some sort of like, because Claire works in a school, so it's like we may be in a situation where we could have like a lot of the summer off and we could do like a bunch.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. And also it's like it's not that I'm that worried about like I am worried about cost of a vacation, but it's like, it feels nice to just like go experience like the trails and like everything that this park has to offer. And there's not like some little monopoly man trying to drain your bank account while you're there.
Yeah.
That part is very nice. I hate tourist traps so much.
Yeah.
There's like a couple near we live, like around where we live, and you may be thinking of them.
Oh, right.
And I'm just like, it's like you go to this place and it's like, this is a literal nice part of the world. And it's just like,
capitalism has ruined it.
Yeah, capitalism's like a big shit stain on it. It's like all these billboards, all these buildings, all this random bullshit. And it's like, I hate it. If you're going to have a building in a very beautiful area, you need to blend into the area. You don't need to overtake the area. You don't want to stand out.
Yeah.
You want to respect the area.
Well, that was like part of the problem with Seattle and like around that area was, it's like you have like some of the most beautiful natural landscape I have ever laid my eyeballs on, and then there's like a fucking Walmart or something. I don't know, just like and just like the crammed, and then you have like, and this is not a dig at poor people, but you have like homeless people camps and ugly highway overpasses and like graffiti and like just trash everywhere. And it's just sort of like, man, what are we doing?
I agree. I'm definitely like pro the parks in a very big way. I feel like any like, organized nation that is like, we're going to claim this part of the globe.
You have an obligation to take care of the landscape.
It's like you have an obligation to like take care of. Okay, I feel like there can be a Walmart. Just have zoning. Like it needs to be in an area.
It's a little
like,
ugly to begin with.
Yeah, it needs to be in a spot where it's like you're not
blocking the mountain range.
There's not a Walmart like in the smack dab in the middle of one of the Great Lakes or something like that.
Yeah.
Just floating. A little island Walmart.
It's on like rafts or something.
It's like right at the edge of Niagara Falls, so every picture of Niagara Falls has a freaking
Walmart in it. Yeah.
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 What if kind of like sports centers, corporations like started sponsoring and like taking the name of like, so it's like Walmart's Yosemite Park or something like that.
I would kill somebody. Would be the thing about the there was like, this was like a while ago, but it was something like, oh, this advertisement is streamed from space. It's like, you get that shit out of the sky right now, because if I walk outside and if I have to see a goddamn advertisement broadcasted in front of my stars in like the sky outside, I'm going to kill you.
If I see a Manscaped ad on the
hunt
moon,
you down. Yeah.
It's terrible.
That's like, don't you fucking dare. Because one of the most cherished experiences to me that is integral to my life as a human being is able to stand out in the middle of a field and look up at the stars and be like, I am a teeny tiny speck. And maybe get a little existential about it. But that is my goddamn right.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm trying to look at the sky and I just see like this unskippable ad. It's like I gotta watch this.
I will go insane. I will come for you.
Gotta watch the Grubhub commercial.
Right, exactly. You gotta watch that guy dance. That was also a long time ago. I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but 10
more seconds till I can skip this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get back to the Sky live stream. Mm-hmm. God.
Yeah, I should have got Sky Premium so I can watch this uninterrupted.
Right.
Yeah. I would love it if like the tornado alerts that we're near, not to out us as Midwesterners, like the tornado sirens, if like at the beginning and end of the tornado sirens, if there was like an audio ad, it's like, are you ready for sweaty sack summer? It's Manscaped time, baby. It's
don't give the tech bros ideas. Well, whenever I don't know, but
I want to die to capitalism. No. I want to just hear it in my ears as the tornado crushes.
Well, I don't know about the weather app that I use is it's like a local weather app.
Okay.
And when you open, app? Yeah. Well, like an app that has
not the weather app.
No. It's like a local a weather app that like pulls its data from the local weather people. You know what I mean?
Isn't that what the weather app does?
Yeah, but I have a different thing. Anyway, my point being.
Okay, I'll just let you go.
Okay. My point being is that when I open the weather app, I have to sit there for like 10, 20 seconds while it boots up with an advertisement on it until I can see the weather. Which that's probably how they make their money, but like, whatever. If I'm trying to track a severe storm in the area, it's like, well, gee, I would sure like to, see the radar instead of staring at this theme park ad. I know, but what I'm talking about is a little bit different. It's just a little bit different, okay?
Why is it different?
I don't know. I don't know why I do what I do, okay? Maybe I just need to use the generic weather app, I guess.
I'm really surprised you don't. Like, I'm surprised that
Does it have radar? Can you see like the local radar on it?
Precipitation?
Yeah, can you see like the clouds like move?
Yes. For those at home, I just pointed to the radar.
I've been living my life in a stupid way.
You just have to scroll down.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. But my point, you understand my point though,
yes,
right?
I do. I do understand your point.
Or like trying to like look up a YouTube video for how to do CPR and you have like
how to do the Heimlich maneuver and then you gotta watch a Grubhub ad like we mentioned before. Yeah.
Please, I just need to
Oh man, it'd be so oh, you're choking on food and then you're watching a food commercial. I am so not in an appetizing mood right now.
Should we move on to the game?
Let's move on to the game, everybody.
Okay.
Man, we got into the game only like 50 minutes into the recording. That's like a new record.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
we're
don't think
blazing through this episode. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Okay, so that was vacations.
This
Anyway,
is traveling advice with Clayton and Morgan, in which
right.
I threatened to become some sort of like psychopath if you ever put ads in the sky. Anyway,
if you put ads in space, yeah, Jesus, you would literally become old man yelling at clouds.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into the game at hand. Spyro Enter the Dragonfly is the fourth main entry in the Spyro the Dragon series. It is the first game in the series to be released on the PlayStation 2, and it is the first game in the series to not be developed by Insomniac. Instead, the development of this game was handled by Equinox Digital Entertainment and Check 6 Studios, and publishing was still handled by Universal Interactive. The game was released on the PS2 in North America on October. I'm so dyslexic that I can't even read. I'm not dyslexic.
It says November.
It says November. Okay. On November 5th, 2002. I don't think I've ever said a date right. I get so psyched out every time I read the date because I never say the date right. And for those of you, it's not like numbers right now. It just says November. It's spelled out phonetically, basically.
Right. I like to think that like your brain just gets to a date and you black out and there's just like a roulette wheel that spins in your head. That's just, okay, this is the date that's going to come out of my mouth. It is not what I read.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, November 5th, 2002. So pretty early on in the PS2 life cycle. Enter the Dragonfly was received fairly poorly by critics, with many pointing out the lack of originality and the plentiful technical issues and glitches. In an interview with Ted Price, president of Insomniac Games, he called this game an absolute travesty. Just word quote, he called it, quote, an absolute travesty, which is pretty hilarious.
You took his baby and you trashed it.
Mm-hmm. And in a video that I watched by, let me just...
Oh, I haven't seen this actually.
So there's a video by Matt Mr. Muscles. Had a great video on like explaining the sort of development hell that this game was in, and just like all the turmoil that came along with like its very rushed development cycle, disagreements between developer and publisher, stuff like that.
So did he specify who like pushed the rush? Was it the publisher? I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was the publisher. They wanted to meet like a holiday deadline and stuff like that. Kind of similar to Crash.
You.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
And I believe in that, it might have been in that video or somewhere else, but I believe that Ted Price also said that, and this, I don't have the exact quote, but he was like, one of the things that he was upset with was that people thought that they made this game because they previously made the Spyro games.
Oh,
he was like upset that it was so bad and that some people thought Insomniac made this game.
Yikes.
So
no.
Yeah, that sucks. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know, because you did helm the series. You want it to go to good hands. You don't want like...
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's why I was like, it's his baby. And
you don't want it to go to shit and like to always be associated with your studio and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you know, the general public isn't always going to...
They're not the smartest. They're not the crunchiest chips in the bag.
Yeah. And then you kind of lose the ability to say like... So like when Ratchet is releasing... I think Ratchet came out before this. Anyway, but like if Ratchet was coming out after Enter the Dragonfly, then it's like you kind of lose the gravitas of the creators of Spyro.
Yeah.
You kind of lose that. Anyway, there's an ant crawling around on my camera right
now.
Oh. Get out of there, bitch.
Oh, nice.
So many bugs in our house with like the temperature outside right now. It's terrible. Anyway, so yeah, Ted Price, not too happy with this game, and that's cool. You expect them to be cordial, but it wasn't even good enough to be like cordial with how bad it was.
I'm going to drag you through the mud and call this a travesty.
Mm-hmm. And like I said before, similar to Crash Bandicoot, tight development cycle. Yeah, and despite all this, sales data would go on to suggest that Spyro Enter the Dragonfly sold fairly well for the time. We have sales data for the UK, and it surpassed around 300,000 units. So maybe got close to 1 million. I'm not sure.
But that you have to keep in mind, this is riding off of the reputation of a beloved franchise, of a beloved series.
Yes.
So once again, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Definitely squandering that goodwill.
Yes.
Slowly but steadily, I guess. Anyway, so let's move on to the time that we spent with the game. So overall, big picture, Spyro the Dragon as a series, my history of the game. So I've 100%ed Spyro 1 for the Reignited trilogy. That was back when my wife had COVID. I think I maybe talked about it on the podcast at some point. But yeah, it was a good time. It's like a very solid, like, collectathon. Straightforward, relaxing. It's like, it's not like challenge. It's not a challenging game. It's more of a, there's nothing that was like too hard to find even. It's just, mechanics are very simple. It's good. And then me and you did a speed run of Spyro 1 whenever.
A bad speed run.
Let's be specific. Where we got pizza like in the middle of the speed run with the clock running. It's
right. And then our commentary went out the window because we were eating pizza.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
And I think I slurped some soda directly into the mic, but
probably.
Hey, whatever.
It became like a mukbang sort of situation.
Right. With no like camera feed though.
Yeah. Just sound. That's everyone's favorite part of the mukbang.
Yeah, it's the sound.
Was mukbang a sexual thing?
Some of it I think is, but a lot of it's not.
I didn't. Is ASMR a sexual thing?
No. Some of it is. A lot of it's not. Yeah.
I hate it. Whispering is something that like is like nails on chalkboard to me.
Like I like the ones where they like cut soap and like make soap like crackle.
Yeah.
Soothing to me.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so what's your history with the series? You're definitely a big Spyro head.
Oh, so yes.
Regale us.
So Spyro 1 and 2 are my favorite games on the PS1 that we had. I did not get to play Spyro 3 as much because I think one of my cousins borrowed our copy of Spyro 3 and took it to college, and then I never saw it again. Sort of thing.
But you did play it?
Yeah, barely. Most of my memories are from Spyro 1 and 2, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have nearly as much nostalgia for Spyro 3. And then this game, Enter the Dragonfly, was one of the first games we got on the PS2, and I'm pretty sure the other game we got was 007 Nightfire, which we've covered before on the podcast. Go check that out if you haven't.
That's right.
Plugging that in. But yeah, so I was as a little kid, I remember being in Walmart looking in the cabinet, in like the glass cabinet of PS2 games, and like picking this one out, being like, it's Spyro. I gotta have Spyro. And then, as a kid, you don't realize how janky it is. Yeah. And then you get older and then you're like, whoa, this is bad.
Yeah, I definitely had a couple games like that as well. So did you go back and play 3 for the Reignited trilogy?
I never beat it.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I didn't have as much nostalgia. There was like one Speedway I got to, and it had a mini game that I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
And I was like dying instantly, and I was like, well, this is stupid. And I put it down, and I never picked it back up.
Mm-hmm.
But Spyro 1 and 2, I've 100%ed multiple times.
What about some of the other like lesser known PS2 titles?
I've played a decent amount of Hero's Tale. There's the Legend of Spyro trilogy. I beat the first one and the third one, but not the second one. So
yeah, were any of those handheld games as well? Like I know that there was like a couple like Game Boy Advance Spyro games.
Oh yeah,
as
no,
well.
I never played those.
Okay.
And those were like RPGs, I think, or something weird. Like it had like a weird, yeah.
I wonder if you would like that then.
Maybe.
Like a Spyro art.
Wait, no, they weren't. I don't think they were RPGs, actually. I take that back. It was like a weird. Have you ever seen gameplay of like Sonic 3D?
Ooh, I don't think I have.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it kind of had Sonic 3D vibes. Yeah, I don't think it was actually. I don't know where I got the RPG idea from. Maybe I'm thinking of Super Mario RPG.
Gotcha.
Which is getting a remake, apparently.
That seems like one of those few kind of Mario RPG and a lot of like spin-off RPG titles for like, I don't know, IP or like movie tie-in or franchise tie-in games kind of feel like little weird fever dreams in a way that's kind of sometimes appealing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So as far as like Spyro kind of fell off during the PS3 era, didn't it? Like there wasn't okay.
Well, Skylanders.
There were Skylanders, famously.
Which is not really
ugly
Spyro at all. Yeah.
Yeah, he was so like morphed and Spyro's design is so solid, and it's weird that they did that.
Why did they trash it? He looked hideous. Like literally hideous. Anyway.
And it's not like I felt like they needed to do that for him to feel more in line with the other creatures in that
No.
universe.
No.
Yeah, that's gross. They made him look like an angry little baby almost.
Yeah. His proportions were weird, and like the texture of him was upsetting, and he didn't look like a cute little baby boy anymore. He looked like a rat that you wanted to kill with a broom.
Yeah, he looked like he had been squished or something. Like squished and stretched and then blown up like a balloon. It was bad. Spyro has not had a great run of things post really the PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Well, until the Reignited trilogy, I would say that's good.
Reignited trilogy was like a very faithful, like return to form. It was the form, so it's not really. Yeah. But anyway, how did you prepare for this episode?
I 100%ed everything except for the last level, and I did not do the final boss. The last level was making my game crash.
Yes.
So I just didn't. Except I watched like a playthrough to brush up on that level since I haven't seen it in years.
But you have 100% of this game in the past, I assume?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
But have you beat the game in the past?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I played up to the second world. This kind of is antithetical to my really trying to complete everything that we play, but I don't know. I let this one go. Mainly because you had done so much of it.
Okay.
I'm like, Morgan can carry this one. That's
sure.
Because I was also having a lot of crashes. It's a fairly short game, all things considered, but I was having a lot of issues with OPL running the game, as well as some things that were probably just the game crashing itself.
So I can tell you that my experience of playing this game on the PS2, I cannot remember like any like hard crashes.
I had a couple. So the one issue I did have was the one like hard crash. I had hard crashes that were probably OPL related, but I had one where it was like my controller input just stopped. No longer any controller input. I can unplug it and it says, "Oh, you got to plug in a controller." Plug it in, still nothing. I heard someone else say that, and I assumed that they were talking about like the actual disc version of the game. Actually, they were on GameCube. So I'm like, oh, this is like a game issue.
Interesting.
Probably. I mean, there's a chance that I'm wrong on that. But yeah, that was one of the issues I had. Aside from other glitches like falling through the world and the floor disappearing.
Yes.
Stuff like that. It's surprising. So like Crash was also very rushed, but Crash felt rushed from like a graphical or like concept basis.
It wasn't like the level design or like
the mechanics. They were like, I'm not like unintentionally glitching through something.
Right.
It feels like it works. Whereas this game is like rushed in a way it feels like it's kind of barely held together.
Yeah. It like barely functions, right?
Maybe barely functions is like too much of an over, but it's like like a normal playthrough, you'll probably see some glitches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into some very important questions. I want you to answer this honestly.
Okay.
World peace. No more wars.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's good. Or Spyro 4 developed by Toys for Bob.
Well, listen, I am a gamer, but I'm not. I gotta pick world peace, man. Like,
but what if Spyro 4 by Toys for Bob causes world peace?
Listen.
That
purple dragon can do a lot of things. I don't think this is one of them. Sorry.
Gaming is more pervasive than it used to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you wanna be the contrarian and take Spyro 4, so that we're balanced, right?
Well, I'm gonna take Spyro 4, and you can't play it, Morgan.
Oh, okay.
It's just for me.
All right, that's fine. I will accept that.
So you have fun with your world peace over there.
Yes, I will actually.
Is it world peace if you don't have Spyro 4?
Well, you know what? That's a good point. Didn't think about that. Anyway.
Spyro or Ratchet?
Oh.
You can only save one.
Oh, I mean Ratchet. He's my little kitty cat guy.
Okay, yeah. So you're more of a Of the Insomniac franchises, Ratchet is the more essential one.
I've definitely spent more time with Ratchet than I did with Spyro. I mean, I love them both very dearly, but Ratchet. Yeah.
I would also pick Ratchet. I do. I was hoping you'd pick Spyro.
No.
I don't even know. Like, I think there's more you could do with Ratchet. But I do wish that there was more games like Spyro that were like a mascot platformer collectathon. Pretty chill. Not like Crash Bandicoot levels of difficulty, just kind of chill, kind of for younger audiences. Maybe you have Tom Kenny voice the character in this too. I don't know. Probably could do it.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I like it. Okay, Morgan. So you were a child whenever you were first introduced to Spyro. What is it about the Spyro design or the world or anything that appealed to your little Morgan brain?
Okay. I was a dinosaur kid and dragons, and then I was a dragon kid because dragons are pretty adjacent to dinosaurs. There was a movie. Oh, it's an old movie. I think it's called Dragonheart, where there's like, I think, and it's probably like garbage, and I just don't know it because I saw it when I was like 4. But I think it's about like there's like a king, like some dickhead king, and his life is like connected to a dragon. And so, like, the hero he goes and befriends the dragon and then has to kill it so that he can kill the evil king or something depressing like that.
Oh, was it like real, like, animatronic, like, dragon?
Yeah, I think so.
Things? Okay.
Yeah, and I remember, like, crying over it. I don't know how good it is, so don't judge me, all right? Like I said, I was a little kid. But yeah, I remember that and being like, dragons. And there was also, like, I think a Mega Bloks medieval set where there was a cool blue dragon and a red dragon, and they had like sharp pointy claws and like fangs and stuff, and I was like, oh, dragon. Like, yeah, I was just the fact that Spyro was a dragon was enough to make me obsessed. Are you tired of me saying the word dragon yet?
Dragon. This is really dragon on, Morgan.
Yeah.
We need a soundboard. That's what this podcast needs.
Yeah. He's purple. He's really cute. He has really cute proportions.
You like the tiny dragon too. It doesn't have to be a big, intimidating dragon.
It doesn't have to be a big. No, I like pretty much all kinds of dragons.
All dragons.
All dragons, yeah. Yep. But he's little and cute, and that's appealing to like child me. And he kind of has like a little nerd voice. At least in Spyro 1, he does. Well,
he was Tom Kenny from the start, right?
No, from Spyro 2.
From Spyro 2.
Yeah.
In Reignited, he was Tom Kenny the whole way through, though, right?
Yes, okay. He was.
Okay. How do you feel about the original voice actor? Did you?
Oh, I liked him. Okay. It was, I think we might have talked about this before. It was a similar kind of thing where, like, in Spyro 1, his attitude is very, like, cocky and, like, I'm going to get you. And then they just sort of, like, toned that back in Spyro 2 and swapped or, like, replaced the voice actor. Same thing that they did with Ratchet. But I forgot his name. I think it's Chris Azul. He has a crazy last name. I don't remember. But yeah, he's sort of had like this like nasty Nork sort of a thing.
Okay. Not to like bring back Naruto, but like why is that like the safe bet with protagonists in games and just children's media?
To have being like cocky?
Yeah, they have like the cocky and obnoxious, like, but well-intentioned kind of idiot protagonist.
Oh, man. I think it's because it's an easy way to generate conflict.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Conflict is what, drives, character motivation and the story and the things that happen. So if you have like a cocky guy who's well-intentioned but gets himself in, he's cocky enough to get himself into situations. And that's where the entertainment comes in.
Oh, so also probably the idiot part. It's like, he's learning about the world as you are too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, anytime Naruto's like, a jutsu? How does that work? And then Kakashi has to be like this.
It would be weird if Kakashi just busted that out.
Right.
Just for the audience. A little awkward.
Right. Or Sakura's like, Naruto, you idiot. Why didn't you need to pay attention in class? I'll explain it for you real quick. And then they have like a cute little diagram that shows.
As they're all standing there, squared off, still ready to fight at any moment.
Or like slowly hopping from tree to tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because Spyro, Ratchet, Sly is like a different breed of that. where he's definitely
He's more
smarter.
suave. Yeah, and smarter.
He's lush. He's got a lush personality.
And the environments are lush as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Jack is a freaking idiot. He can't even speak.
He doesn't talk.
Yeah.
Crash doesn't talk.
Crash is like an idiot who can't speak.
Yeah.
Jack is a presumably normal person who doesn't speak.
But Crash can go wah 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 wah.
Wah 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 wah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That concludes that segment.
That concludes the very important questions. Do you have any very important questions? It's usually
no.
Okay.
No. I only have unimportant questions.
Okay, we should have a new segment, unimportant
questions.
And those are like the actual good questions.
Right.
As opposed to this, who are you going to save in a fire
situation. Oh, you didn't specify it was a fire.
I don't know.
Spyro's most likely immune to fire. No, he's not, actually. He's definitely not. Anyway.
But if you... I'm immune to air because I breathe air. I feel like breathing fire makes you immune to fire.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Fish breathe water, they're immune to water. Anyway.
Type advantages, people. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you start with campaigning concept.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. I did not pay attention to the cutscenes very well, so it could be a little bit off on this.
I assume there's like one at the beginning and one at the end, sort of thing.
Yeah, there's not. Well, there's actually one that shows up in the middle too, but it's so inconsequential that I don't even remember.
Oh, that's where he blasts his henchman, right? Like he.
Yeah. So for like the campaign or the plot, Spyro is having a party, and his friends are there. I don't remember why they're having.
No. It's all of the dragon eggs that you captured in 3. They're hatching and receiving their firefly.
They're dragonflies.
Or dragonfly, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. But even though there's no baby dragons that you can see, so like.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
No.
I think you have to look that up too. That's probably like from the manual sort of bit of lore.
Okay. But so how dragons sort of like work in the Spyro universe is they derive their power from dragonflies. So like how Sparks is like Spyro's health indicator and he like helps collect gems, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So basically Ripto shows up, crashes the party, and he's like, I'm just taking the dragonflies and scattering them all around so that the dragons can't have their power. And so probably so he can take over the realms or whatever, because that's kind of what he's always trying to do. Anyway, yeah.
I got many questions for you. I'll start with Ripto. How do you feel about Ripto's like return in this game? Because you, I would say, pretty decisively destroy him in 2 from the cutscene I saw.
I mean, it probably would have been better. Well, okay.
There's also like no explanation. I think that's the main thing. It's like there's no explanation. I think it would have been. I don't know what. It may be like a whole new villain, because not only is Ripto back, he is rehashing like the plot of Spyro 3, which is I'm going to scatter the dragon eggs. And so now instead of scattering the eggs, we've scattered the dragonflies, which feels like you're just recycling 2 different ideas. So maybe a new villain would have been better, or a new villain that resurrects the old villains. And then you have to, that sort of a thing. Oh, so what was the main, like, so in Spyro 1, you were reviving the dragons or unfreezing them.
Yeah.
Spyro 3, you're doing the eggs. This game, you're doing the dragonflies. What was Spyro 2?
You were freeing the different realms from Ripto's control and collecting these like magical orbs that powered like a portal to get back to the dragon realms.
Okay.
Because in 2 you get like slurped out of the dragon realms and into like this like new set of realms. And Spyro's just trying to get back home so he can take a beach vacation. That's like literally all he wants to do.
That's what we want to do. So of those collectibles, like main collectibles, which one of those do you think is the most enticing or interesting? Because like with the dragons, you get a little bit of like, they say a little thing. They all got a little quirky personality. Dragonflies, they just kind of have unique names, and then that's it.
Yeah, I kind of like the dragons best, especially because they added those like unique designs in the Reignited trilogy. That was good. Yeah,
very good. Yeah, Cletus. Shout out to Cletus.
Love Cletus. And they all have like their quirky little personalities. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Actually, I'd say that that's my favorite.
Because it was like rewarding every time you went up to one. It was like, who's going to pop out of this now? It's like,
right.
And what are they going to say?
Keep your horns on, Spyro.
Mm-hmm. So like the best you get in this game is like you catch a dragonfly and it'll be
plays a generic laughing sound effect.
Yeah,
and they all have like really weird names.
Yeah, they got strange names. So like the reward is like finding out what they're named, basically.
Yeah, I guess. And they're different colors.
Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite sort of plot device, I guess.
Yeah, which I think also, so for Spyro 3, for the baby dragons, I think they might have had like unique animations because they would like pop out of their egg and maybe do different things. I might be projecting that onto the game and misremembering. I don't actually know.
Maybe.
And they had unique, I think, color patterns and like names.
That's cool.
I think some of the names were also kind of weird.
I do like the idea of that, having like a dragon egg pop out, kind of like the first game. It's like freeing them from the crystal, but it's a different way of doing that. That's neat.
Also a valid question. In Spyro 1, there's no lady dragons. Where are these eggs coming from?
We got a seahorse situation on our hands.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is there any lady dragons at all?
Not in the original games. In Legend of Spyro, yes. And there's a love confession that comes with that.
I've got a very important question.
Yeah?
How do they visually distinguish the lady dragons?
Oh, okay. There's two lady dragons, as far as I know. You can look them up if you want to, actually, to see what their designs are like. One of them, you can look up Ember. Just type in Ember space Spyro, and that will give you her.
It's just pink Spyro.
Yeah, and she has very big eyelashes.
Oh, is she in the Reignited trilogy?
No, that's a mod.
Okay.
Yeah. She is in Hero's Tale, which is a PS2 game that we will get to at some point. And then you have Cinder, I think spelled Cynder, who made an appearance in the Legend of Spyro trilogy and in Skylanders, but
okay.
Yeah. And she has a few different designs.
Is she evil?
She was.
Yeah, she looks like she was.
She is the final boss of the first Legend of Spyro game. That's what happens to her. But she's not like evil. She was like tormented and like twisted into this big evil dragon. And then you defeat her and then she shrinks down into a cute little girl dragon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you see that thing I sent you?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Why? What
Just a YouTube thumbnail, I guess.
Okay. I don't understand. I hate that.
I hate it. It's the first thing I see when I type in Spyro Cinder.
Oh, well. Oops. Sorry about that.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go to a therapist now.
Right.
Okay. I want to talk more about Spyro's friends. Let's cover this cocaine leopard that we see at the beginning of the game.
This cocaine leopard. He's from Spyro 2.
Okay.
And 3.
Okay. Is he like Spyro's, like, is he like an essential character in some way? Why are there leopards? I thought this was a dragon world. What's going on?
So he is from, so he's not from the dragon realms. He's from that separate set of realms in Spyro 2. That's where you meet Hunter. There's Hunter and Alara.
Is she the bunny?
Alara's her name? No. And Alara is a fawn. So she's like a little half girl, half goat chick.
Okay.
And she and Hunter are best buds from that second set of realms. And you meet Hunter at the beginning of Spyro 2, and he teaches you the gliding mechanics. And then shows up in like the little like side mini game things from time to time. And then he reappears in Spyro 3 and does a similar thing. The bunny gal, I don't remember her name, but she is the villain's apprentice from Spyro 3. And she, I think, has a crush on Hunter and ends up betraying the villain and helps you out because of Hunter.
Okay. I almost wrote down her name because I did see it, but instead I wrote down Walmart brand Lola Bunny. So
that's kind of what she is. I forgot her name. I don't remember her name.
I didn't like them.
Okay.
I didn't like them.
Okay.
I don't like looking at them. I wish they'd go away.
They are kind of upsetting. They're very like if you turned Jello into a living being. Is how they look and move a little bit.
Yeah, I did see some like other, and maybe this was from the Reignited trilogy. Did you see them in the Reignited trilogy at all?
Yeah.
Did they look better?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think that's what I saw.
It's like they took their PS1 models and didn't really update them at all. Is why they look like that.
That's like what the intro cutscene feels like.
Yes.
The intro cutscene is an abomination.
Yes. Also, did you see the big blue dragon-looking lady with the big rough collar, the balloon at the beginning of the cutscene?
Was she one of the like people behind Ripto?
No.
Oh, I don't think I caught her.
Like the camera, it's like looking up. There's like party balloons, and then there's like a balloon of this big blue.
I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick.
Okay, she was the main villain from Spyro 3. And they just have like this balloon of her at the party for some reason. And the bad guys, Ripto's minions, are Crush and Gulp. And Crush and Gulp were bosses in Spyro 2.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Nasty Nort in this game at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Nasty Nort stays dead. But Ripto does not.
That's
for
strange.
whatever reason.
Who would you decide or say is like the more iconic Spyro villain?
I think Ripto, just because he's given more like screen time and everything. Whereas like Nasty Nork, he has like his opening cutscene. That's like all you really see of him.
That's true.
Until you like kill him. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Ripto makes continuous appearances. So
right. How do you feel about Ripto as a villain? Is he like annoying in a good way that makes you want to kill him? Is he?
I think it's like his boss fight in Spyro 2 is actually like pretty hard.
Okay.
And it feels like an appropriate, like, I would say a big weakness of Spyro 1 is how they handled boss fights, because they didn't, like, you just like you chase after a guy and like flame him a few times and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in Spyro 2, it's like you actually have to like, fight, and it's like a bit harder. And like it actually like poses a challenge. And so it was a 3-phase boss fight, and it was pretty rough, like pretty difficult.
Gotcha.
And so I think for that reason he's a more iconic villain. I think he works. Also Ripto's name is based off of the Japanese, I think, katakana of Spyro's name. Like someone looked at Spyro's name in Japanese and they were like, oh, that looks like that spells out Ripto. And that's why Ripto is named what he is. Which I think is kind of cool. Yeah.
Okay. And I also feel like Ripto is like the name I hear most associated with Spyro, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. He's probably the best suited to be sort of like a nemesis type figure, I guess. Right.
So if would you prefer for him to, let's say there is a Spyro 4, would you prefer a new villain, or would you like to maybe retread with hard. Ripto? Because he does kind of die into.
Yeah.
Like
in this game, he just like leaves.
Mm.
I think he like dives through like a portal or something, and he's like, I'll come back for you one day, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe, yeah, bring Ripto back, but give him like more henchmen. Like aside from like just the two, like maybe add some more henchmen in there.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like because with Crash 4, Dr. Nefarious is back, but Crash. Not Nefarious, Cortex. Yeah.
Cortex, yeah.
Yeah. But they kind of do a thing with Cortex where he's the villain, but it feels like a lot of the times he's kind of like comedic relief, and there's a bigger villain. Like,
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is that, yeah, maybe bring Ripto back. Maybe have like, he has like here's Ripto and his dorky little henchman. But then he finds like a bigger, like scarier henchman. But then that henchman betrays him and ends up being the main villain. That's what I would do if I was the writer, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Also sort of like a rift apart the two Nefariouses, how you have like Dr. Nefarious, but then like Emperor Nefarious is like way scarier.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of a thing. Yeah.
I agree. I think that'd be cool.
So just to explain like how the campaign, I guess, works a little bit better. So you have, I think it's 10 levels and your home world, which is like sort of like a hub that you use to traverse between the different levels. within both the home world and those levels, you have various mini games with dragonflies as a reward. So some of those are like separate challenges that you go through a portal to get to. And there's, like a Simon Says mini game, or maybe it's like a flying speedway. Yeah, or maybe it's a vehicle thing. And then there's also these like little power-up gates you go through that give you like some sort of powered up like breath, like flame breath or ice breath or something. And then you complete a challenge that way.
Oh, I got a lot of things I want to break down. So previous Spyro games, and again, I can only really speak with like a lot of certainty on Spyro 1, had like a hub world, like multiple hub worlds.
Yes.
And multiple levels within that hub world. And the hub world was kind of like its own level. Do you prefer having like more levels that are smaller, or kind of like how this game does it, where it tries to have fewer large levels?
That's really hard for me to say, because I do have a lot of problems with the level design in this game. I think if it was like implemented and had like the polish and like the time and the thought behind it, I think it could be fine. I do like how Spyro 1 has like each like hub world, and then the associated levels have like their themes though. So like as you progress through the game, you get to see these different themes. I don't know. I don't really know what I prefer, because that was immediately ditched by Spyro 2. Like it's like a little bit different.
Oh, do they also do bigger worlds?
There's three, kind of. There's three hub worlds, and they have a similar thing where within the levels, there's like little like side quests or like little like optional mini games you can do to get more orbs or like collectibles or whatever. And they still have like speedways that are like their own separate levels.
Okay.
I probably like how Spyro 2 does it the best. And I don't really remember. No, Spyro 3 had too many different like gameplay types, I think. That's going to sound weird, but in Spyro 3 you can control other playable characters when you go into their specific levels. And I like the core Spyro gameplay. I didn't really like their gameplay so much.
If I was to throw my own opinion into like the bigger but fewer, or smaller but more, I think that as far as a collectathon goes, it makes more sense to have sectioned off areas, as opposed to, because imagine like you're missing a few things in a large open world. It's like, well, now it's kind of frustrating to retrack everything. Whereas in Spyro 1, having to retrace your steps and find something was never overly frustrating, because the worlds were more self-contained.
Right.
I think that you could like still have a larger world if you found a way to section it off. Like imagine Spyro 1, but instead of blending the level or the worlds within the hub world together through like a portal, if there was just like a pathway that kind of like Jak and Daxter, where you enter.
Yeah, and the collectibles
section
are tracked differently within those subs. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I think
that could work.
That'd be cool too, because then you get the sense of like a large world, but it's still manageable, and you can like tackle them without getting lost or anything like that.
Right.
I think that would be like my preferred way to do it. I have another question. Do you feel like this game is light on content in any way? Because okay. So like, how would you compare it to Spyro 1, as I guess is like my only real touchstone?
Okay. No, I would say Spyro 1 definitely feels more fleshed out, because even though Spyro 1 doesn't really have like the mini games yet or anything like that, the sense of like, well, just like the sheer amount of levels and all of the collectibles are necessary. Like you have to have a certain amount of gems, you have to free a certain amount of dragons and collect a certain amount of eggs, that sort of a thing. And if you do all that, you are rewarded with a bonus level. Whereas the progression is only tied to the amount of dragonflies, and there's no bonus for going out of your way to get all the gems or anything like that. It's just progression is only dragonflies. You can completely ignore all the gems in the game and be able to progress.
Interesting.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, progression is also not really. They tried to have progression tied to power-ups as well.
Right.
So like you could collect
to open the gates and stuff, right?
Yeah. There's bubble breath, there's lightning breath and frost breath, I think, and like a wing shield. But
okay,
the everything about the game, the way it's like structured with like you have to have this certain amount of dragonflies to get into this level, it's already linear to begin with. So having things like gatekeeping things behind these abilities is not doing anything to make the experience more meaningful, if that makes sense. Whereas Spyro 2 was like, okay, you have like this like chunk of collectibles in this level and you cannot reach them until you get this certain ability. So then you have to backtrack back to this level. Or maybe you need this specific special ability to complete this mini game. So you're going to have to come back. That sort of a thing that's more like meaningful, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to, because you brought up the power-ups, I'm curious like what their purpose is, because I only made it to the point where I unlocked lightning breath. And I didn't really make it to a point where I found out how lightning breath was really differentiated from fire.
It's not.
It really seemed like it wasn't.
Yeah, no, the only thing that it does that you have to use it for is there are some things, well, like in like the crop circle, the farming level, there's like lightning rods that you have to power up by using the lightning breath on it, or like you have to use bubble breath to catch dragonflies. Right. Other than that, there's no reason for it. Like it does not add anything.
I take issue with that as a concept because they operate the same as your regular old flame breath, right?
Yes.
Like it's a cone. It just interacts with the world differently. And that's a strange sort of, because from a world perspective, like a, logic in the game world, like it makes sense that you have to use a bubble to capture a dragonfly or whatever, or you have to use lightning to interact with the flame rods, or not the flame rods, the lightning rods. But from like a gameplay sense, all you're doing is cycling through the same thing. Like, it's not like switching to a different gun in a shooter where the gun would handle differently. Like there would be different properties to it. Maybe it would like charge up, or it would be a burst fire or something like that. Like, and I think if they maintained like the different types of breath, but they didn't all operate the same way, that would be more interesting, because as of now, it's like the gameplay is just cycling through with the L button. Right. That's it. And that's just annoying. That's not really fun.
Right. I don't know how much of this is due to how like rushed this game was, or if this is if that part of the end product is developer intended 100%, because so like Ratchet and Clank, for example, like switching weapons in Ratchet and Clank is fun because those weapons apply to, you can use them as tools in certain specific scenarios. In this game, there are no scenarios to play with. It's just
it would be like if Ratchet and Clank had 3 colors of guns and it was like red, green, and blue. And they all did
the exact same thing.
They do the same thing, but you can only use red guns to shoot red enemies and green guns to shoot green enemies and blue guns. Like, that's not what you want.
Yeah. I will say, I was mentioning the backtracking thing earlier where it's like, oh, you can't do this thing until you have this ability. There's, I think, literally one example in the whole game. And that is in the first level in the Dragon Dojo. There's like these little baby dragons and they're like, oh, my kite's stuck. You have to get frost breath and come back and freeze them and then jump on them and then jump up there and get their kite down. But when I did that, it was hella buggy and it did not like to let me stand on the frozen block that I turned the baby dragons into and kept like shooting me off in random direction. It was frustrating.
Yeah.
So that like barely functions.
I gotcha.
But yeah.
I want to move on to because we kind of discussed level design and all that. I wanted you to kind of give your 2 cents when it came to like, you wrote down gym placement and the use of space. So I want to hear what you have to say about that.
So my issue with, and I think this is because, once again, I don't know what is developer intended and what is a product of this being a rushed piece of shit. The levels, there are so many parts of these levels that it's just like a big wide open like room sort of, or a big wide open space. And the only thing to do in that space is to zigzag around and collect gems.
Mm-hmm.
And this leads to a lot of really wide empty corridors or wide empty like corners of specific areas that they have nothing of interest. They serve no purpose. And the way the gems are placed, it's like, it's hard to articulate, but like in Spyro 1, right? The way the gems are like clustered, it makes it like satisfying to go pick them up, because it's like, okay, I'm going to glide over to this platform and I'm going to clear this off and pick up these gems. And then I'm going to, run along this like straight hallway and smash through all these crates. And it feels like really like you can be efficient with it. You know what I mean? With how you're picking up the collectibles. Versus in this game, it feels like somebody took the gems and they like walked around the level and sort of like threw it out like birdseed or something. And it just makes collecting them frustrating, because you have to like zigzag. Like you can't walk straight through the hallway and just pick up the gems. You have to zigzag back and forth all around and do that when you go up and down stairs. And like, it's just the gem placement. It feels like they were trying to pad out the gameplay by making you literally waste time dicking around picking up gems that were put in stupid places. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. The first time I was playing the game, I crashed and lost all of my progress. But the first time I was playing the game, I was playing it like I played the original Spyro, where I was collecting everything as I went along. And it felt so tedious. Whereas in Spyro, it didn't, it felt enjoyable. Yeah. In a way that wasn't like, oh man, I'm just doing something like super. It felt like I was just running around
mindlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Isn't that weird? And like, you don't notice that there is an art to that sort of thing until you see a bad example of it. And then you're like, why does this suck so bad?
Okay. Another thing that, so you mentioned in the mechanics section, because we've kind of tackled, we're kind of jumping around all over, which is fine.
No, it's fine.
The mechanics. So I immediately felt like this game was off, and I'm like, I'm not sure if that's like the inconsistent frame rate that's happening, the slowdown that's happening occasionally, but controlling Spyro felt kind of stiffer, less flexible than Spyro 1 from what I played of the Reignited trilogy. And I'm curious, like, if you feel like it doesn't bother you too much because maybe you're familiar with it, or you do feel like it's in line with previous Spyro games more than I would say. I don't know.
No, it sucks. It's like the game has like consistent input lag.
Okay.
And it's always felt that way to me. Whereas like Spyro 1 and 2 feels like fine to control. It's not like frustrating. Whereas this, it's like, okay, it's like Spyro doesn't like react as like fast as you wanted to, or like move as fast as you wanted to.
It feels like he doesn't like turn, like his turning radius is maybe wider, and that makes him feel like kind of less nimble than maybe that's kind of, I'd have to double check, but
because I know in the original Spyro, if you were like running and you wanted to like double back, he had like a relatively quick like double back animation where he would like skid to a stop and then whip around and do what you wanted him to. But I don't remember that being a thing. It might be a thing in this game, and there's definitely like a consistent input lag that makes it frustrating to control.
And that combined with the general bad performance is a recipe for something to not feel fun to play, which is
frustrating. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, is this hovering thing, because we have the same stuff from Spyro 1 where you have, breath, fire breath, charging, jumping, gliding, like you wrote out, but you also have this hovering thing, which I didn't pick up on immediately. Is that
was
something
introduced in 2?
That was a 2 thing. Does it operate the same way?
In 2, yeah.
I don't really like it.
How it works is when it gives you just like a teeny little bit of extra height at the end of your glide. So you're supposed to like glide and be like holding the direction you want to go. So like, or whatever, or when you are performing the hover, you want to hold the direction, like hold forward. So it will give you just like a little bit of a boost and push you forward a little bit and then set you down right on the edge of the platform.
For those who maybe haven't played the game, I feel like you could describe it almost like Yoshi's sort of flutter kick. You know what I mean? If you played that, where it's like you jump and then it's like waddle, and then it kind of waddles up a little bit. It's sort of little bit like that. I'll let you go.
It's almost like a teeny kind of like a safety net, but it's also meant to make certain glides more challenging, right? Because you have to time it right.
I don't like that.
Okay.
I like the idea of like having a little safety net.
I wonder if you would like it better in Spyro 2.
There's a chance I would.
Okay.
I think there's a good chance I would, but I don't like because it's adding like an extra level of skill because you lose your momentum with the hover, so you have to press it at the right moment, I guess. But I don't really like, because you could just make the jump the distance where you have to glide, you have to jump at the edge of the cliff and glide over, as opposed to jump at the edge of the cliff, glide over, and hover at the right moment. And I felt like I was struggling to like kind of nail the hover, because it's kind of like you stop and then you go up, and if you're not really right, you don't have any way to make it all the way to the platform. So
it is kind of a butt clencher.
Yeah.
Like when you use it, you're like am I gonna make it? I will say that something I think that made using the hover frustrating in this game was sometimes maybe the scenario you had to use it in. So like sometimes there were like floating platforms that when you stood on them, they would kind of like bounce up and down. And so that would, like I'm trying to think of an example that you would have seen, but probably in later levels, there's like floating platforms that have like some physics to them, where when you get on them, they kind of like want to bob around a little bit. And that makes it frustrating to try and hop from platform to platform, because it messes with your jump height, and like your ability to jump and glide and judge all that is messed up. And then also there are the platforming challenges. I don't know if you got to the one in Crop Circle where it's like these like rotating platforms and you have to get to the guy in the middle or whatever.
Okay.
And trying to judge like, okay, I'm going to glide and then hover onto this moving platform when you have like the input lag and everything, kind of frustrating. And not, but I don't remember any glides in Spyro 2 that require to have hover like giving me the same issues. So I don't know. Something worth thinking about.
So I'll make another analogy to Mario. I like the idea for kids' games having maybe more mechanics than what is required to beat the game. So like additional mechanics for maybe more skilled players. In Mario, I believe, someone email me if I'm wrong about this, but from what I remember, when they make 2D Mario games, they test the levels without running. So to apply that to this game, I like the idea of testing the jumps without hovering. So like, it's another option rather than being required. So like in Mario, they're going to play through the entire level, make sure it works without running. And running is kind of like an option for maybe more skilled or advanced players.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if that applies to like the harder in-game levels of Mario or anything like that, but that's, I think, an approach to games for children that I think is a solid idea.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about before we move on from mechanics is that the game, I would say, egregiously bombards you with mechanics in the worst possible way right off the bat. Oh,
with Sparks just dragging you to a halt and being like, let me make annoying sounds at you.
Let me squeak
while you read text on screen. That's what he sounds like.
It's to tell you very self-explanatory things or things that are already part of Spyro. But you can do that without stopping me, I think, personally.
Yeah. You can have just like a pop-up with like text that's like scrolling while he's talking. Yeah.
It's kind of sucks because like the time to start moving around is a little elongated because of the opening cutscene. And then it's like as soon as you start playing, it's like, and stop. And then you start playing again, it's like, and stop. And then you start playing again, it's like, and stop. Like you can't move
it's frustrating.
more than like 4 feet. It's not, it's not very well thought out there. Yeah.
Also, like, if you get within a certain range of an NPC and how Spyro will just sort of like stop, like listening to your input and just like slowly walk over to that NPC and then talk to them, it's like, don't, okay? Like, I know what I'm doing.
Or just have the NPC turn to me if you're going to make me do it. It's a little silly. Anyway, I have one more piece of mechanic question before we move on because I missed it. So this is more for you because you're Spyro fan number one.
Yes.
What are you looking for in a Spyro game? And do you care about like the sort of extra break up the regular gameplay content? And what content do you like versus which is more like, let's leave that out? So I assume speedways are like, that's part of the game, right?
Yeah. Well, they've been in every game.
Right. And they're fun because you got to figure out like the order to do the things and like the most efficient way. I found it fun. But for other mini games, what would you do? You want them? Would you cut them out?
I don't know. There's some in this game the mini games are dog shit.
Why am I driving a tank? Yeah.
And it's like slow and clunky and terrible, and the hitboxes are garbage and a whole mess. There's a later tank minigame where it is timed and you have to get through it without dying, and it's a hellish nightmare that I save state scummed my way through because I was like, I'm going to go insane. You can't. Anyway, I like, I don't know. You know what my favorite challenge is when the level design itself presents you with a unique challenge, like treetops in Spyro 1. Do you remember treetops? Yeah. Where it's like the ramps? That's one of my favorites.
Probably the best, the most iconic for me level in Spyro.
Just because, and it's about like letting the environment of the level influence like the challenge. So like treetops, it's like we are running around on these like giant trees, and so here's these like supercharged ramps that you have to ramp off of to launch between the big trees, and that's so cool.
And you feel so smart when you figure it out. Like the order to chain them together. It's good.
And I think Spyro's strong suit has always been its like atmosphere and aesthetics and that sort of thing, at least in Spyro 1. So like that sort of like smart level design is what is important to me. And then, I mean, there's plenty of mini games or like side challenges or whatever in Spyro 2 that are fun, but there's some that are like stinkers where it's like, I'm going to do this just because I want to get that 100% completion. Am I having the time of my life? No, not really. But they're also like, none of them are asking that much of you. Well, there is one that is, for those of you who've played Spyro 2, Fracture Hills, Hunter with that stupid fucking potion and the stone golems that are trying to smash him. Worst. It's like an escort challenge and you have to like headbutt these like giant golems out of his way before they like hit him. But it's a goat. I don't think it's even Hunter. It's a goat. Stupid goat man takes the stupidest route possible through these like golems, and it's frustrating. Anyway, so there's like some where it's like with mini games, they can drive me up a wall a little bit. Just depends on the mini game, I guess.
I think I'm definitely with you in that. Like, there's still more things that you can do with like the base Spyro mechanics, and maybe you don't need to veer off into like completely changing it up with like a tank minigame or like some other weird control scheme or playing as a different character or something.
I will say, I know you didn't get to play many of the like mini games, but most of those felt like horrendously unpolished and unfinished.
Totally.
Like the environments were bland. Some of them, like the objectives were just like, it was just brainless to like play them. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
All right, let's move on to collectibles and completion. Morgan, why don't you tell me about the 100%ing experience?
Yeah. So in Spyro 1, like I said, I think it might be if you get 100% gems, or is it 100% everything? I don't remember. Either way.
I think it's everything.
Okay.
Actually, maybe it is gems. I don't know.
Regardless, you unlock Nasty's loot, which is a level that has like a sort of like a new mechanic where it's like you can fly anywhere you want. But it has like some stipulations where like you have to, your maximum like
altitude.
Yeah, your maximum altitude is based off of the highest platform you can jump off of in the level. Yep. That's cool. I'm cool with that. It's fun to do.
It was a fun last level because you collect an obscene amount of gems.
Yeah, and you just get to like the dopamine of like watching the number go up. You're just like, whoa. And like that last room with all the purple gems, and they all like explode and it just like showers you. It's like, wow. Yeah. That's good. Satisfying. Spyro 2. If you get enough orbs, you get to unlock Dragon Shores, so you get to take Spyro's beach vacation.
Nice.
That he wanted to take, and you get to do mini games there. And then also, if you have 100% collectibles, you get to unlock a permanent upgrade to your flame attack. And then when you do that, you can also, I think, kind of sort of do like a new game plus.
Okay, I was gonna ask, yeah.
Yeah, where you have that special powered up flame attack. And it's like just like shooting a missile out of your mouth, basically, where it just goes. It has like an unlimited amount of distance, and it'll just like fly and explodes on impact. So that's kind of fun.
You're like a hacker in a Modern Warfare 2 lobby or something.
Sure.
You just shoot once and everyone dies.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have like auto aim or anything like that. Like it shoots where you are pointing. But I don't know about Spyro 3 because I didn't 100% that one, so my bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also another thing about Spyro 2 is it has skill points like Ratchet and Clank. And if you get the skill points, then you get some bonus content where they show you some like enemies that were cut from the game and have like a little blurb about it. So that's kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
You get like some behind the scenes content that way. This game, nothing. You don't get anything. For getting all gems, all dragonflies, they don't care.
That's disappointing. I feel like if you're going to ask collectathons, it feels like almost a prerequisite to have a reward.
You have to have something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's just like an extra 5 seconds, not more, hopefully more than 5 seconds tacked onto the ending cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to pull a scaler.
Or a Crash Bandicoot. Wrath of Cortex.
Yeah, or Crash Bandicoot. Forgot about that.
Unlock the true ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, I'm in agreement with you there.
Okay.
I didn't 100% the game, so I can't relate to the feeling of nothingness that creates. When it comes to collectathons like this, obviously we've talked about this before, like as far as like time spent with games, you're more open to spending a long amount of time with something that is like very deep and, you know, story-based or something like that. But when it comes to a collectathon like this, how deep are you willing to go? Like less than 10 hours? Because I think the original Spyro is probably like a 10-hour completion or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the original Spyro, I think both Spyro 1 and 2 take me around like 8 to 10 hours. And I think that's fine.
Yeah,
because like I can sit down and do that in a day if I want, or I can split it up. So
I will say that like Insomniac games completion for me, because I played a Spyro and Spider-Man back to back, and I found their completion requirements to be perfectly on the edge. Like I finished the game pretty much right when I was ready to stop playing.
Oh wow.
So I was like,
that's impressive.
Yeah, I'm like, this is like a well-paced 100%.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man was like, I think 19 hours, which is, you know, longer than Spyro, but there was also, I think, more ways for Spider-Man to interact with stuff. And it was a large, you know, open world New York. And I'm like, 100%. I'm like, I'm ready to stop. Same with Spyro. It's like 100%. I'm ready to stop. So it was like very well timed, I think, in that sense. I don't think something could reasonably go on for more than 20-ish hours.
No.
That's like on the high end. Because like,
yeah,
especially a 3D platformer. I love Mario Odyssey, but I feel like that game maybe too much to collect in that game. That's like like 1,000 moons, I think.
Oh,
it's a lot.
That sounds like a lot.
It's cool because you could pace it in a way where it's like you just hop in and find a few more, and that would probably be a satisfying way to do it. But I prefer to play and finish, like kind of more intentionally rather than pick up and play constantly. So yeah, if you have anything else to add to that one.
Oh, I don't, but real quick, it says that you hated using bubble breath for dragonflies. Yeah, the hitbox on that was fucked up.
It was messed up. It was hard to catch those. It was
terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Move on to visuals?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, I will say, the visuals in this game are not, I would not rate them the worst we've seen. The worst being, I'm drawing a blank. No. What is it?
Harry Potter?
No. Well, that's a stinker. No.
Was it a launch game?
Oh, no. Yes, no.
Yes, no.
Sorry. The cyberpunk cop lady.
Oh, Oni.
Oni. I was trying to say onigiri, and I'm like, no, that's the rice triangles.
Oh.
It's like a food. No, Oni was bad.
Bland
visually.
environments for sure.
Yeah. This does not. The environments are like bland, but it's not like as bad.
Yeah, that had major like early PC 3D game vibes to me.
Yeah. So I mentioned this, I think, jokingly, maybe in the intro of this, where there's like certain elements in this game that are lacking polish. So like the skyboxes, the water planes, they look very basic, very like this is something that somebody slapped together in like a day, sort of a thing. Also, we've mentioned, I think, the frame rate issues with like the input lag. There are also some bugs and texture glitches that cause like a horrible like flashing, like an enemy texture will glitch and like flash rapidly across the whole screen and like hurt your eyes. And I said something about this game should come with an epilepsy warning.
Yeah. And because you said that, I tacked this on. I wasn't going to add it because I didn't really have much to elaborate on. It was just like a cliff note that I saw written on the Wikipedia page. And it mentioned that there was a lawsuit filed in this game in 2007 for a child who suffered an epileptic seizure from this game.
Well,
so I don't know how that resolved itself, but it was filed.
That's worth considering. Yeah, if you have like if you are someone who is of risk, not for this game.
Yeah, don't do this
don't
game.
Do that.
Don't watch that one Pokemon episode that caused seizures.
Yeah.
Don't do any of that. I've been looking into the Pokemon stuff. I don't know if you remember. That's the Porygon episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Porygon, from what I remember, has not been featured in the anime at all. Past that because of that.
Oh my gosh.
I may be wrong. Again, email me, analogschtickmail@gmail.com if I am wrong on that one. But yeah, I watched an older video about that recently, and it was like, that's so funny. He's just like not in the anime now because of that.
I will say, sorry, back to like the level design and the visuals. Sorry, let me figure out what this level is called. As I was playing, I was trying to keep in mind, which of these levels are pretty well designed and which ones feel like weird, empty spaces.
Totally.
Dragonfly Dojo feels weird and wide and too empty. Same with Crop Circle Country. Luau Island has fairly decent design. Cloud9 is okay, but could use some polish.
That was the more dreamy one, right?
Cloud9.
Yeah.
That was with like the teddy bears.
Oh.
I don't know if you know anything about that. Where it's like dream. Well, I guess it's dream themed.
Okay.
Honey Marsh, I think, has the most like polish. And seems to be the best. Both, and that's the funky thing. Honey Marsh, the gem placement was not as like horrendous either. Like it felt like maybe that one got more time earlier in development or something.
And it's interesting because normally you'd front load your good stuff if you got a really lacking game, and this is towards the end.
It's not. Yeah. Thieves' Den was like a cool concept, but was kind of like, it was like too confusing.
Thieves' Den was in the original game, right?
No.
Okay. Was there a Thieves' World or something? Like a Thieves' Realm?
Not as far as I'm aware of. There might be in 3, but I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I could be just misremembering that then.
And then Jurassic Jungle had like similar issues where it's like, this is just too many wide open spaces. Also, another funky thing about all these level designs is that they're kind of like a donut. Like you get to like the end, but like then it just continues to
dungeon.
Yeah, like loop around, and so that makes finding the sense of like completion is not there because it's like, well, it just loops back around, and then you have to, I don't know. Yeah. It makes it hard. It feels like harder for you to like think back and like be like, okay, well, where am I missing something at? You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, that's one last thing I had to say about that. But yeah, I think Honey Marsh is like the best, probably the best looking level.
Do you think it plays the best too, as far as like, okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
There's like an enemy in there that's kind of bullshit, but whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I have a couple characters I want to talk about.
Okay.
So we already talked about the fucking cocaine leopard, as I wrote down, in the Walmart brand Lola Bunny. Spyro's model looks pretty fine. Like, especially similar to Crash, where like Crash looked really good in Wrath of Cortex. Everyone else did not really.
Yeah.
Ripto is embarrassing. He looks like it's the last thing they slapped together. It's
like ass.
Yeah, he looks like a PS1 model. The humans in
They're-
like crop
abomination
circle
country
should be illegal, unholy. They look. Why are there humans?
I was gonna say why not make them like
sheep? I don't know.
A sheep, yeah. Maybe they were like, oh, it's too weird because they have cows. But who cares? I don't know. Because like everything else is like an animal.
Yeah.
So just do that.
I like the idea of that level. Like the concept of like because it's where we live. You know?
Yeah.
Reminds us of home.
Yeah. Yeah, why not make them like or like sheep herding dogs or something?
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
That would have been kind of cute.
And they were like those sheep herding dogs in the original, right? The ones that would jump on you.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be
maybe a callback
funny.
to that in some way.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but the humans was a bad call. Bad call with the humans.
Not a good idea.
That's like they reminded me of the police officer from Tulip.
Oh yeah. They kind of had like a Tulip vibe, but it's not in Tulip, and so that makes it terrifying.
I think of Tulip a lot.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I genuinely love that game actually. As like as it was certainly an experience.
What a game.
I know.
What an inexplicable game.
Go check out our Tulip episode if you haven't heard it before.
Go check out something Tulip related, because that is like
it's an experience.
That's like a wild game.
Yeah.
It's the most like unique game we've played.
I think so.
Maybe the most unique game I've played. Maybe not. Anyway.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So for Cocaine Leopard, Hunter. Lola Bunny, Walmart brand Lola Bunny. Don't remember her name. And Ripto, I'm pretty sure, I feel like they just like ripped their PS1 models without doing any sort of like updating. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, speaking of like questionable NPCs, in the Dragon Dojo level, the Dragon Masters with like the really thick accent, is that, maybe just a little bit, I don't know, a little questionable.
That one. So I accidentally skipped I heard like a second of it. I accidentally skipped his dialogue. And then I was like, wait a minute. What was going on there? And then the second one I got to, I'm like, okay. They're doing this.
Okay, yeah.
They're doing this. They're doing this accent. They're doing the English as it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like a product of its time sort of a thing.
Yeah, probably.
We weren't really thinking about being conscientious in that way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, did you know about Spyro 2? The thing that they had to change?
No.
One of the things they had to change. So in Spyro 2, there's like a desert sort of like Middle Eastern level. And there is a side mission where there's a guy flying on a magic carpet and he throws bombs at you.
Oh my God.
And he has a turban. And his name, I think, is Bombo, like Bomb-O or something. And they had to change him because it's a bit insensitive.
Man,
no,
that doesn't fly.
No, yikes. Maybe you want to cut that one out.
Do I? Bombo,
I don't know.
He's a bomber. He's dropping bombs everywhere. He wouldn't fly.
But it's like a racist stereotype though. Like what the TSA does to these poor people. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to.
I mean, yeah. I assume there's profiling happening.
Yeah. We're not about nothing. Anyway. Sound design.
So in one of the episodes, I don't remember which episode, we talked about the Spyro Enter the Dragonfly soundtrack. Wasn't there some sort of weird like Easter egg or thing, like chant that was being said?
Oh, the Yaha asshole?
Yaha asshole, yes.
Yes.
What is that?
Did you?
No, I don't know where that is.
Okay, so see the at Clayton, I need you to listen to the soundtrack.
This specific one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a soundtrack that it was for like a cut level or something. So it's not in the game. But it is so funny sounding.
Oh, you hear it right away.
Exactly. And I think people in the comments are like, yeah, the sneeze soundtrack, because it also kind of sounds like a sneeze.
I see Crystal Fisher has commented on this.
Yes. Well, it's his video.
Oh, it's his video.
Yeah.
I see Crystal Fisher has posted this.
Yes.
Anyway.
What's the soundtrack called again?
Andy's?
Yeah. Okay. So I think that was for either like a cut mini game or a cut like level.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And there's a few other soundtracks there that are also from cut content. But so the soundtrack for this game was done by Stuart Copeland, who is both the drummer for The Police, like the band The Police, not the general.
No, The Police. Yeah. The U.S. Police Force. He's the drummer.
No. And he also did all the music for Spyro 1 through 3. So the soundtrack still kind of has that classic. I mean, I think he sort of like updated his style a little bit for this game because it does a lot of like different like vocal samples, which is something he did not do in the past games anyway. But it's cool that they kept the same soundtrack guy, I thought. But aside from the soundtrack, oh, by the way, Cloud9, best soundtrack in the game, in my opinion.
All right.
But I noticed a lot of issues where the audio or like the sound effects were synced poorly with the visuals. Straight up, some sound effects were playing or continued to play when they shouldn't have. So a creepy example of this is in the Thieves' Den level. There are these like Riptok sorcerers that you have to kill by using your wing shield and deflecting the spells they throw at you, which is also really fucked up, and the physics on that are janky, and the reflections shoot all over the place, and it's really hard and obnoxious to deal with. But after you kill the wizard guy, the weird like creepy chant thing he's doing will continue for like 20 seconds after he's dead, and it's creepy and upsetting.
That's interesting.
Like, yeah,
because I had some audio issues like that where sound continued, and I was like,
yes.
Oh, my game's bugging or something. But maybe it just was poorly.
It's just poorly. I think it's just poorly implemented.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like really lacking in polish in that way too.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't have too much to add to the sound design, so if that's all you got, I'm good to go.
Oh, also when you play as Spyro and you like run into something, he always goes "Youch," and that's like it gets really annoying after a while.
Is this
especially because like, yeah,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but like some of the hitboxes on the walls are also funky, so you'll like run into something without meaning to, and he'll go "Youch," and it's like shut up, shut up.
So a good game to play muted, or if you could turn off everything but the soundtrack, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all I got for sound. You good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's quickly touch on some. I think we covered most of the performance stuff, so just to reiterate most of this, I was playing OPL hard drive on the PS2. There are issues with that method. You have to run it in a specific compatibility mode, and even then, it's not without crashes. You were running on an emulator, and you were also having issues with certain areas, right?
Yeah, I didn't like keep trying, but the last level made my emulator crash. However, there are some like tweaking you can do with the emulator to fix like the shitty frame rate issues a little bit and to like kind of help the game out that way.
I think I did watch a playthrough of the game in 60 FPS, and it looked better for being like it looked more fun to play for that reason.
Right. There is, even without like the emulator crashing, when I played this on the PS2, I remember there being, and I've seen this in other people's playthroughs, so it's like an issue. There is like a fairly consistent bug with the last level, like the Jurassic whatever level, where there's like there must be like a loading trigger or something that's bugged, because you will like walk into the next section and the level just like won't load. It'll just like refuse. So you can see like the gems like floating on this like invisible plane, and you can't really like do anything about it.
Okay.
So, yep.
Yeah. So even if you get the game running,
you're still gonna have problems.
You're still gonna have problems. You'll have correct problems as opposed to incorrect problems.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a buggy experience, even if you do have the disc and you're just playing correctly. So yeah. All right. Let's move on to the recommendation section, Morgan. Where can you play this game? PS2 and GameCube. That's it. Has not been ported anywhere else.
Why would it be?
I imagine like most multi-platform games, I imagine the GameCube version might run better, but I can't say for certain. I watched gameplay throughs is what I was about to say. GameCube playthroughs, and they still had a lot of issues. So I don't know if it's going to be a fix for all the poor optimization. And I don't think, this wouldn't be. You could play it on the Wii, like or a backwards compatible PS3. So it's kind of locked to those systems. Morgan, would you recommend this game?
This version of the game, no. And I will answer that further in depth with your next question.
Okay.
But go ahead and give your answer.
No. Okay. Next question. Does this game need a remake?
Your answer?
I would say no. You go ahead, Morgan.
So, I know that there are like a lot of fans who have nostalgia for this game and would have loved to have played a version of it that was maybe more polished or more fleshed out. There is a fan project in the works. I don't think it's done yet. I think it's still in development, where somebody is making a mod for the Reignited trilogy to recreate this game, like as like a fully fleshed out like mod for that trilogy. The last updates I saw for that were on, we've mentioned Crystal Fissure, like I think a few seconds ago, on his YouTube channel. So if you want to check that out, it looks like really good, and it's running through like the Reignited engine or whatever. So it actually like runs and functions. Like it's not going to be a broken mess. So if you want to play the game, that's probably the best way to do it. But I don't think it's fully like out yet. So
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Crystal Fissure only cover Spyro and Crash, or is it mainly just retro content?
I think he covers, I've seen him, I think, do Jack and Daxter stuff. I don't know. He does like a mishmash of things, but mainly Spyro and Crash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He also makes his own music. So
neat.
If you're into that. Yeah.
Love me some retro tunes. Shout out to Pizza Hotline. Also making retro tunes.
Yeah.
Listener of the pod. Friend of the pod. Okay, anyway. What would you like to see next in the series, Morgan?
Spyro 4.
Yeah, Spyro 4.
Not this one. This does not count.
This is not Spyro 4. Much like the last Crash game we played was not Crash 4, this is not Spyro 4.
Exactly.
I would like to see Spyro 4 as well. Put Toys for Bob on that. They did such a great job with Crash 4.
Yeah.
I assume that they would murder it with a Spyro 4. They're legitimately like one of the most talented. I feel like one of the most talented studios when it comes to this specific genre of games.
Yeah.
Not being allowed to work on what they're best at.
It's frustrating. They killed it with Crash 4. Yeah.
And they were the ones in charge of the Spyro Reignited remake as well, I believe. And they're just, why?
You're wasting them. Give them to me.
Give them to me. I assume that Crash 4 did not do amazing.
Oh.
But it still probably did good. But like, I'm sure Activision has a very skewed perception of success.
It's freaking corporate.
Morgan is seething right now.
Sweet.
I'm the only one who can see it, but Morgan is seething.
Next, you're gonna put advertisements in my sky, and then I'm coming for you.
Oh man, yeah. Give us Spyro 4.
Yeah.
Or else. All right, that's Spyro Into the Dragonfly, everybody. Okay, next game. Rule of Rose. God have mercy on our souls. We're not going to make it, Morgan.
What a tonal shift.
Yes.
From Spyro Happy Fantasyland to Grimdark. Man. Yeah.
So much like Haunting Grounds, this is a
Haunting Ground,
sorry. Demento. Much like Demento, this is a very like obscure hidden gem survival horror game for the PS2. Developed by none other than Punchline, the Tulip people. Ooh. What a departure. The game that was banned in the UK. I don't know if it ever released there.
Okay.
Wait, was it banned? Significant controversy. We'll get into it. We'll figure out the actual truth for the episode. There was issues. Horror game set in like a boarding school, I think. I think it's going to be a good time.
Are they British?
Probably British. Morgan.
All right.
This is going to be a tough one for us. We're a bunch of little babies.
Yeah, I'm not. Like, I'm looking forward to it, but like not.
I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
I'm like the The Simpsons, haha, I'm in danger sort of thing right now.
Yeah, I've like watched some video essays on it, but it's been long enough that I've sort of forgotten. But I remember like listening to the video essays and being like, this is fucked up.
Oh boy. Boy. I'm excited to compare it to Haunting Ground whenever we get once we actually play it. So
yeah,
that'll be for October, spooky month.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Alrighty.
All right, thank you for listening to this episode. Please support the podcast by leaving a review or rating, subscribe or follow to stay up to date with what we're playing. Share the podcast with a friend who loves PS2 or this generation of games.
Or Naruto.
Write in with any questions or feedback to analogschtickmail@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.